maybe you don't have an answer now, but can you find an answer? What have other communities done with regards to the possibility that a lot of stormwater is coming from private properties? Mechanical systems, I should say.
You're correct that you can't make a sewer completely watertight. You can line the sewers, and that does a good job of sealing off the main, but you still have all those services coming in, and the services tend to be leaky. Most communities will not go onto private property to replace those. I have heard of communities doing cost sharing and offering grants and that type of thing to encourage the residents to replace their own services. But that's a huge source of the infiltration, as well as illegal sump pump connections to the sanitary sewer, which they're not supposed to be. And I don't know when those were last inspected here, but I imagine it was some time ago. The manholes themselves also can be leaky, especially during flood conditions where they're completely surcharged. You can't get those completely watertight. So there's a lot of things that can be done to help out, and certainly we have regular programs for lining sewers and doing these things. I'm not aware of us having a program where we assist in private service replacements, and that may be something we want to consider. It's a big source of infiltration. So we keep working on everything, and everything helps, but there isn't one sort of magic bullet that will seal off that system completely.
Mr. Manager, would it be acceptable to, at some point in the future, in the very near future, either have a discussion or, if so appropriate now, direct staff to at least list in writing some of these measures that Mr. Graff just mentioned could help the problem? I mean, we've got knowledge in house of, Dave can at least come up with some of these concepts, and maybe to begin to think about what kind of programs we can put into place, and possible even rough dollar amounts to do some of these things. Because, beyond what we talked about, I can't think of anything else that's going to resolve a sanitary sewer problem when the whole system is completely under floodwater. So if we can begin to think about the small things that might make it better, maybe we can reduce the fecal matter discharge.
We can certainly put together a list of possibilities and options for you to consider and bring that back to you along with some potential costs. We can do that.
Alderman Eugene Wesley.
I will tell you that we will have an update on the treatment plant study, I would say late, sometime in September. So that study is finishing up now. So that will be a plus to us to see actually what we would have to do with our treatment plant, to upgrade it or whatever we got doing there. So we hope to have that report back in the middle of September here. I did talk to those outfit today, so hopefully we'll have a direction on that, and that might give us some other directions on that.
Anyone else wish to address the City Council this evening? Hearing none, that brings me to Mayor's report. I want to talk a little bit about Prairie Fest. Jeff and I put together this memorandum. Over 8,000 people gathered for the 2009 Prairie Fest, which would have attracted well over 10,000 if Sunday was not a total washout from rain. Great majority of comments on the fest were positive. Of course, there were some suggestions for next year that will be taken into account. But overall, attendees had positive remarks. Brief conversation with individual food vendors also went well. Majority of them were pleased with the business that they received during the fest and indicated that they would love to return next year. Upon setting up with the carnival, they also requested that they be invited back next year, and even suggested that we open a day earlier on Thursday for strictly a carnival night, and also extend the hours later on Sunday evening. The Park District did not have any complaints with the fireworks in the pool. City crews assisted in the cleanup the first thing on Sunday morning. I was told by many people that this was the best fest that they've ever had in Wooddale, and that the fireworks show was one of the best that they've ever seen anywhere. Some minor problems involved parking, site setup, demolition not completed soon enough for the grass to be installed, and minor electrical setup problems. Mr. Murmis and I are suggesting that elected officials send Jeff their pros and cons on this year's fest right away so that we can begin starting our planning for next year's fest, which we anticipate will be bigger and better. Brad should be submitting a preliminary financial report. Final report won't be ready until mid-September at the earliest because of the accounting we have to do with SEM. In closing, Jeff and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for being part of this year's Prairie Fest. Your efforts exemplified professionalism, and your dedication is truly amazing. Congratulations to everyone once again, and I can't wait to work with all of you again next year. The residents of Wooddale should be proud to such have a dedicated group of people representing them. Special thanks to site boss Eugene Wesley, who took a week off of work to work the fest, and to cash boss Nuncio Police. I'm going to be reestablishing the Mayor's Committee on Special Events, and anyone who is interested in serving, please contact me directly. And thanks again to everyone who had a part in making this the best fest in Wooddale in the last 20 years. And also under Mayor's report, Alderman Winger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had the privilege today to attend the Clean Air Counts annual luncheon at the Merchandise Mart downtown. And highlights of that included, I was able to meet Bruce Mather of Elmhurst College. He's the facilities manager. And he was talking about the permeable parking lot that they put in at the college and how it drains. And while it was a little more costly outside of just using standard pavement, however, it's also used as a learning experience for the students there to see how the water drains through. And they have said that it has held up over the past couple of years of these storm events, that their parking lot does not flood. So I thought it was very positive to know that something can be put in place and that it does hold up. So I was encouraged with that. Also mentioned at the luncheon is an anti-idling effort, which the group is trying to bring forward to, and also to get a grant to be used for the promotion of anti-idling in communities. So the project summary is as follows. The program will provide approximately 3,000 anti-idling zone signs and signposts to 100 communities in the Chicago metropolitan region. We estimate that the program can yield a 1,015,864 pound reduction in ozone precursor emissions. And they're looking for us to voice our support for the program through providing a letter or email to Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning by 4 p.m. Saturday, August 29th. So I'd like to request, Mr. Mayor, if you could send a letter on behalf of Wooddale, if there's no objection from council.
Without objection, I'll be glad to do so.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that concludes my report.
And that concludes my report. Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. Part of my report was going to be an update on the Cedar and Windsor drainage issues, which we've already covered. A couple other ones, though. You will notice that in your packet this week was the second of what will be a monthly status report on the 2009-2010 capital improvements. The first went out in late June, and several aldermen contacted me and asked if we could work that a little bit and get a little more specific with respect to estimated starting and completion dates. This is the second one. If you have any other concerns or any other suggestions after you look at that, please let me know, and we'll continue to tweak that. Also on your desk tonight is the first in what will be a bi-monthly status report on the higher profile projects that we have going. The one that you see today is a status report on the Metro train station construction. You'll be seeing that every 2 weeks. You'll also be getting every 2 weeks a status report on School Street as that progresses. And over the years, as we get the higher profile ones that are of higher on the radar screen, we'll give you those on a bi-monthly basis as well. And again, if you take a look at those and have any suggestions or concerns, please let me know. Give me my office a call. And that concludes the report.
That brings us to the consent agenda. Is there any objections to any items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda? Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Now may I have a motion to approve the items on the agenda being an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property owned by the city of Wooddale and a letter of credit release, 1020 Wooddale Road to Gullo International. Is there such a motion? Is there a second? Roll call.
Alderman Lewitton? Yes. Alderman Police?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Cadella?
Yes.
Alderman Winger?
Yes.
Alderman Coles?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Shockey?
Yes.
That passes. Item 1 is passed as ordinance O-09-22. It brings us to committee chairman reports, planning, zoning, and building. Alderman Cadella.
No report.
Public Health, Safety, and Judiciary, Alderman Shockey.
No report.
Public Works, Alderman Wesley.
Mayor, I have one report. I will make a motion to approve Salton contract award for South Cedar Avenue drainage study in an amount not to exceed $45,750. That is my motion, Mayor.
Is there a second
Second.
second.
on the question? Roll call.
Alderman Lewitton? Yes. Alderman Police?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Cadella?
Yes.
Alderman Winger?
Yes.
Alderman Coles?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley? Yes. Alderman Shockey?
Yes.
That's
That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. That's approved. Finance and Administration, Alderman Winger.
No report.
Is there any other business? Alderman Police?
I've got a couple, Mayor. We received this monthly report from the manager. The general ledger revenue analysis. It's like a 20-page report here. I was wondering if we can get that, maybe just get a snapshot of each fund and what percentage of each fund that we're using. Do we need all 20 pages? Takes about a couple hours to go through if we go item by item. Is there something that we can consolidate this? Is this necessary? As long as we're looking at the funds, and I know that after 6 months, we've only used 50%, we're in line. If we see 75%, we know there's a problem.
That's really up to the city council. We give you those revenue and expenditure reports each month by line item. If the council's interested in something a little more concise and abbreviated, it's your call. We'll do whatever the majority of the council wants us to do. If you want us to tighten that up and to give you more of a summary as opposed to the amount of information you have now, we have no problem doing that. That's really up to you all.
Alderman Winger, you want to add that to your committee meeting next week?
Sure.
Alderman Shockey?
I think we all received a letter from Mr. Schillerstrom, Chairman of the DuPage County Board, about the Illinois Video Gaming Act. I'd just like to make sure that that item is on the Public Health Safety agenda for the next committee meeting scheduled. Thank you.
Very good. Alderman Wesley?
Mr. Mayor, as we talked about Mr. Nuzio's statement there, the only other concern I have is there's got to be a way that some of these big projects that are going on, like the Coda Group, the train station app, I'll tell you one thing. I cannot refresh my memory on how much the contracts were awarded and how many's been paid out, how much has been paid out. My suggestion is that we find a way that we could put on the bills payable how much the contract is worth and how much has already been paid out. Because we had an incident here not too long ago that we paid out a contract in full and we have no precaution for it to hold back any money. There's got to be a way. I'm not saying for every item. I'm not saying, but here's the train station. I can't remember sitting up here when we approved that train station. I have some idea, but I don't know how many payments been made out to that. There's got to be a way we can determine that. The other question I have, and I meant to bring this up earlier, I guess I could put it under Public Works. I keep seeing these streetlights bills coming. I know we have a contract with ComEd for a service contract, but if I have a streetlight that's out for months because they don't come out for a couple months to repair it, why am I paying a service fee to ComEd on that bill and they still collecting their money and the streetlight hasn't worked for months? we should not be being charged for that. So that needs to be addressed too. But, I mean, if we could find a way to do that on big projects, the little projects, I don't see any problem. I mean, we got the train station, here's a bill that we paid for $149,000. Is that the first bill? I don't know.
We'll add that to the agenda. Alderman, please.
I've got another one on the CIP, the Capital Improvement Project. I mean, we've been getting a lot of bids in, coming in about 20% under bid. My question to the council is, next year we have another road going in. This year is School Street, next year is Elmhurst and Edgewood reconstruction. That project's like $2.6 million. If we're still getting a savings, that would be about $540,000. The following year is Deer Path, which is $1.1 million. If we get a 20% discount on that, we're looking at about $225,000. So basically, if we can combine the two projects, we'd save $760,000. We would do the next street. We would be a year ahead for $360,000. The next street would only cost us $360,000 over what we're considering our budget amounts. Now, again, if the economy turns around and we don't get those discounts, we don't have to go forward with these projects. With the second street, we can wait till the following year. But if it's engineered ahead, we might be able to save some money. Just a suggestion.
Anything further? We do not need an executive session. There are no items to be referred. There are no items for information only. May I have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.